What's going on, guys? If you want to support our content and pick up this month's amazing Patreon rewards, you can do so at patreon.com/itresolves. If you're interested in custom playmats and sleeves, visit YourPlaymat.com and use code ITRESOLVES10YP for 10% off your entire purchase. What is going on, everybody, and welcome to yet another historic video. I hope you guys are doing exceptionally well today. We have got a very fun list. One that I happened to find on AetherHub, and I apologize because I do not remember. I might have it pulled up. I do. Oh, I do have it pulled up. Okay, this is actually by Strider Stone. So they are the creator of this list, so credit 100% goes to them. I did change one card. I took out a Narset's reversal to bring it back down to 60 cards, but also it didn't seem like the kind of card that we necessarily needed. It's a very good card, don't get me wrong, but it's not the kind of card we absolutely need. So as you can probably tell, this is an Approach of the Second Sun deck. So we do have Approach in the list as a 2 of here. The goal is to get to that as quickly as possible, hopefully being able to control the game until we get there. And then, of course, draw our way to the win, hopefully by flipping a Primal Amulet and then casting like a Shimmer of Possibility, Anticipate, something like that that allows us to really dig through our deck very quickly. Now, in terms of control elements, we do have Authority of the Consuls, one of my favorite 1-mana enchantments. I just love this card. It's very good in the best of 1 ladder, in my opinion. Not only gains you life, but slows the opponents down. Any creature deck is going to have to face a lot of sweepers as well. So we've got Day of Judgment, Settle the Wreckage, and even Hour of Revelation, which I just learned in practice is very good because shrine decks are a thing. There's a lot of artifacts out there. There's a lot of things that this actually hits that we could very easily see on the best of 1 ladder. Now, Tezzeret's Gambit, really good with Primal Amulet, obviously gives us an extra counter, which is just fantastic. Also draws us a couple cards. Teferi's Protection is in here to make sure that we can get to that Approach of the Second Sun, so if we are facing kind of a lethal attack or anything like that, throw out that protection, hopefully get ourselves an extra turn and get where we need to be. In terms of lands, nothing too crazy. We do have 4 Temple of Enlightenment, as well as Irrigated Farmland, which is just a nice cycler. Nothing too crazy, but obviously gives us a little bit of longevity that hopefully will get us to the win. So again, credit to the deck maker. This is going to be a really fun one. Let's go ahead. Let's jump into 3 games. Let's see how it goes. All right, guys, here we are for game number 1, and this is a fairly okay start. So we've got the protection. We've also got Shimmer and Settle, plus that amulet. So we do have some stuff that we can definitely use here. So we're going to go with this. We're going to see how it goes and see if we can take down Mr. Mintman, which I absolutely love that name. Something to keep in mind with this one, guys, this could very well be a much longer series of 3 games. So we'll see how long this one ends up going. But I'm optimistic. I think we've got some really cool stuff that we can deal with here. So the question is, do we want to Shimmer this turn? And I think we do. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's Shimmer now. Wow, lots of lands. Oh my goodness. We're just going to take a Pathway land. Would really love to get a better sweeper than Settle. With things like Leafkin Druid, this is obviously Temur Elementals, is my guess at least. And with that, they may not want to be attacking very often with the cards that they are going to be playing out here. So let's see if we can get through this one. Okay. Very good, solid start for the opponent, so very good. I think what we're going to do is play out the Glacial Fortress here. This is going to allow us to Teferi's Protection if we need to. We'll see how this goes, but based on what they do, there is a very real possibility that we do want to use the protection here, just to make sure we're not taking too much unnecessary damage. Ooh, Prime Speaker Vannifar, very cool. So we are going to take, it looks like 2 here. I'm not super worried about 2. I'd like to save that for a time where it makes a little bit more sense. We'll drop this out. So the question becomes, do we want to leave up Settle or do we want to Primal Amulet? I could kind of see an argument for either way, to be brutally honest, but I think we're going to leave up Settle just in case. Is that correct? I don't know. The Primal Amulet is very good. I'm going to go Primal Amulet. Let's see what they do. My expectation is that they're going to be using the Vannifar here. And so we might take a hit, but I don't know that we're just going to outright lose this turn. And maybe that's incorrect, I have no idea, but this sets us up very, very well for future turns, which I feel like is probably worthwhile here. Ah, very nice. Creeping Trailblazer, a great card. This does allow them to attack in with everything if they would like. Another Risen Reef, very, very good. And then, I mean, theoretically, though, next turn, we have got a very, very, very good Settle the Wreckage here that could just annihilate what they are trying to do. So, I mean, we'll obviously see. They've only got one creature to attack with this turn, albeit a board full of very powerful things that can definitely take us out on the following ones. So we do want to make sure we leave up Settle, or if we draw like a Day of Judgment or something along those lines, we're just going to use it. Okay, so that is an option. We don't particularly want to lose the Primal Amulet if we don't have to. So I think the play is going to be just Temple of Enlightenment. We'll see what they've got. I'm going to throw that on the bottom. And then I think we just leave up Anticipate plus Settle and see what happens. This is a very, very menacing board that they could very easily just win with right off the bat. So if they attack and they counter the Settle, what we do is essentially just, well, hope we don't lose. We don't have the mana. We could have left up Teferi's Protection, I suppose, too, for 2 damage, but I don't think it's worth it. There we go. We at least got rid of their board, which is very good. Now, I'm curious to know how many basics they have in their list, because this is a 3-color deck. A lot of times you don't see a whole lot, but it looks like they did have a number of them. All right. A very strong card indeed that we do have to worry about. This obviously is going to emblem, I'm assuming. Yeah. So let's go ahead. We'll anticipate here, and I think we'll just take Shimmer. We do want to really draw through our deck and hopefully get to the approach of the second sun at some point here. But we did take care of a lot of the scary stuff in their deck, I will say. A couple of these Risen Reefs, things like that, and Gaia's Blessing really doesn't do that much, given, you know, what we took out, basically. Okay, so, I mean, we've got some options here. I think the first step is definitely going to be to Shimmer. So let's do that. There's another Teferi's Protection, which isn't bad, and I think we'll take that here. We can play the land, and the cool thing here is, I believe, if I am remembering correctly, so this is going to flip first, and then take care of that. So at the very least, we got rid of the Chandra. We do still have that emblem, so in 14 turns at the minimum, we are going to die. So we do have to be very careful there. Let's see. Ooh, that's very scary. 1 second, guys. Ooh, hold on. There we go. All right, sorry, guys. Just had to answer a quick message really quick. All right. This is very scary. We do have triple protections, so like we can not get out of this by any means, but we definitely have some answers here. And now I'm really wishing we had held on to the Hour of Revelation a little bit, but that's okay. Teferi's Protection should give us a little bit of longevity here. Sure. So they can attack for 3. That's pretty scary. All the oozes are going to get a counter. Yep. And unfortunately, just a land. Not super great, if I'm going to be honest, but we might be able to protect ourselves a little bit until we can get to something a little more powerful. So we'll see. Great recovery, by the way, from the opponent. I mean, this is obviously just a really, really solid backup play that they were able to piece together here. Had we saved that Hour of Revelation, we might have saved ourselves quite a bit of damage. Probably would have extended the life of the game, but I didn't really want Chandra to just start activating like crazy. I feel like that's a very scary place to be. They're obviously being... Oh, why could we not... Oh, did that shut down? Oh, man. Well, that kind of sucks. Well, we lost. All right, fair enough. Let's go ahead. Let's jump into game number 2. And here we are, guys, for game number 2. And this is an interesting hand. I do actually really like this. If this happens to be a creature deck, we are in amazing shape. If it happens to be anything else, we still have some Shimmer examples that we can hopefully pull out here, but we'll see. I think I am going to lead on an Authority, depending on what we see from them turn 1. Interesting. Does that reinforce that we should use it? Because it could be like an Izzet Blitz style deck. Or should we put more on the Shimmer? No, I think I am going to go Authority. It just makes things a little bit smoother if the opponent has any amount of creatures. It just aids us in buffering our life total, things like that. And it looks like it's the right call with the Symbiote here. So very, very happy to do that. I think the play here is going to be Shimmer, though. We do really want to find a sweeper against an opponent like this. Hour of Revelation, not the best one for this kind of a deck here, but it is an option, so we're going to obviously take it. Expressive Iteration, such a good card. I absolutely love Expressive Iteration. Not only is it just really pretty, but it does so much. For 2 mana, you get to see quite a lot of cards. So next turn, I think the goal is probably just going to be... Oh, interesting. What? Defiant Strike. Okay. Not at all what I expected. That's kind of funny. So I think the play is going to be Temple of Enlightenment, scry an untapped land if we've got it, and then just play out Authority. Pretty straightforward. We don't need another Authority. We've already got 2. Let's get that one down. Hopefully we can draw an untapped land. What that allows us to do is get Primal Amulet down, which cheapens up the Hour of Revelation as well. And then we can kind of deal with this as we need to. But we'll see how this goes. Looks like they're going to play another Symbiote, which gains us a couple life. So I'm not super unhappy about that, to be honest. We'll see what they can do. Hitting us for 1. All right. There is an untapped land. Fantastic. I am going to take the opportunity to play the Amulet. This cheapens up the Revelation, so if they go off this turn, we can Hour of Revelation. Again, we do need an untapped land to do that, but worst case scenario, we're 2 turns away from that. And then hopefully we can kind of deal with whatever they've got coming down. Interesting they have Defiant Strike in a deck like this. I don't know how much I like that. Curious to see how this actually works. I don't believe it's technically entering the battlefield as its own creature, so I guess it doesn't trigger Authority, but we'll see. They are obviously drawing and discarding quite a number of cards here, so they are going to have enough to maybe restack if we do sweep. So just some things to think about there. We'll see. Huh, okay. So they've got 4 mana. Ooh, very nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, that's a very good card. All right, so they can like Expressive Iteration and do some fun stuff here. So we do really want to get this Hour of Revelation down then and just shut down what they're doing. They've only got a couple cards in hand, so now seems like the best time to make this happen. They get to open the Omen Paths again, which then allows them theoretically to mutate one more time, which is really good. Nice little combo here. Ooh, Goldspan Dragon. Good thing that comes into play tapped, because that's very scary. They are going to draw. All right, there's an Anticipate, which unfortunately isn't a land, but we can go ahead and play that. We'll see what we get here. There's a Day of Judgment, so that actually works. This is kind of nice. So without having to blow up our own stuff, we just get to Day of Judgment them, destroy all of their creatures, and then I'm going to go ahead and Temple here. We'll actually keep the Anticipate. Anything that draws us extra cards in this kind of matchup is really good. It also helps us flip this Amulet a lot quicker. And so that was probably about the best thing we could have hit there. Interesting, they did not destroy the Amulet. That's kind of fascinating. I think I might have. But we'll see. All right, let's go ahead and Anticipate one more time. I do want to make sure we do this during our turn. Let's probably just take Settle. It's not necessarily the best by any means, but it is just a nice way to guarantee we've got some outs here. I'm going to go ahead and Primal Amulet. We don't have to worry about anything coming down and attacking us right away thanks to the authority. And now everything is way cheaper. I mean, we've got a 2-mana Settle the Wreckage, which is very good. Sure. Gain a couple life back. All right, so here I'm going to cycle the farmland. That's kind of the nice part about that. And unfortunately just hit a land here. I'm going to throw that on the bottom. At this point, we truthfully just want Approach of the Second Sun. I mean, that's really all we need. Hopefully they don't have a counter in hand. We have seen a few negates, and so I'm a little curious to see what they've got, but we'll do the best we can to search around that a little bit. Keeping in mind that once we play the Settle, regardless of the counter, that is going to basically allow this to flip, which should do wonders for us here. They're going to go ahead and mutate, which means they're going to be able to cast a non-creature spell. Curious to see what they actually have here. Okay. Interesting. So now are they going to destroy an artifact? Because Primal Amulet does flip. They are not. So they're just going really crazy with these treasure tokens and then drawing a bunch of cards, which, I mean, hey, to be fair, not a bad plan. They just get tons of mana and then have basically a lot of stuff they can do with it, so I'm cool with it. But if they don't have a counter, we do get just a free... Oh! Interesting. Is that good? I don't know that that's necessarily good. I mean, it's not bad, but they're going very all in at this point. And honestly, worst case scenario, if they do destroy an artifact, it's really not the end of the world. So I don't particularly care. They're going to Expressive Iteration. Okay. That does make sense. It gives them the most number of outs, so that is fine. But we do, again, I mean, we've got the Settle in hand, so unless they draw a counter, doesn't really matter. Okay. They've got so many treasure tokens. I mean, it's very good. There's another Expressive Iteration. Yeah, you got it. They're doing a lot. The trick is they're cycling through their deck a lot as well, which is good and bad. I get why their Defiant Strikes are in the deck now, because they draw a card off of it, which then allows them to obviously do quite a bit more. It also does trigger the Goldspan Dragon's ability to essentially create more treasure tokens. So, I mean, it does make a lot of sense. They're just going to keep mutating here. This is really cool, but does it win them the game is my thing. Because I think technically we can get around it still. Worth noting, if they do destroy both of our Primal Amulets, it's not the end of the world. This only maximized at its maximum cost is 4, so we do have the open 4. We left ourselves that out, so that's not really a problem. Part of me is wishing we had Hour of Revelation, but I don't think it was worth it, so... It's a really sick little, chain of command here. If they keep bringing this Prismari command back, they do just endlessly deal 2 damage to us, so worth noting that that does potentially just kill us. Okay. But if they're planning to kill us with specifically the Goldspan Dragon, that's not necessarily going to work. So this also gains us 2 life, which does mitigate some of what they've done already. This is interesting. I love this deck. I really like this deck. This is very cool. I don't know who this person is because I can't read their name, but I like it. Yep. I like it. Let's see. Yeah. Resolve all. You got it. I mean, we're just sitting here, seeing what they can do. Prismari command, sure. And Expressive Iteration. I mean, eventually, though, they do run out of cards. They've gone through a lot of cards this turn. I mean, you have to think, if they're drawing and discarding with these, they're drawing 3 cards, essentially, with Expressive Iteration. Like, they're kind of doing a lot. They do have a negate in hand. Part of me just really hopes they discard that. Obviously, that would get around the Settle the Wreckage, so hopefully that's not a problem, but we'll see. But I mean, they're down to 18 cards, so eventually they have to just stop. I mean, there's just no way around it. Deal 2 damage, create a treasure. They've got 5, which means they've got 10 mana thanks to Goldspan Dragon. They're gonna Sea Dasher Octopus, which lets them do all this again. So is this a May ability? No, this is not a May ability. That's fascinating. All right. This is really sick. Like, good on the opponent, because this is really cool. But for all of this, I mean, they've got a 7/4. I mean, they're playing a lot every turn, thanks to all of this, but it's like, is it really getting you where you need to be? Probably. This game is going to be so long. I like it. They've got so many lands in the exile soon. Yep. Create a treasure, deal 2 damage. 15 cards left. I mean, they can't go on forever. They've got 15 cards left. So they can't just continuously do this. I mean, Defiant Strike draws a card. Yep. 14 cards left, 16 mana with a negate in hand. That's the scary part. All right. They're just going to keep drawing. Hey, you do it. I mean, now they draw multiple cards every time. I mean, if they're not careful, they do just deck themselves, but they do have negate as backup, which I'm sure they're going to keep in their hand. I mean, that's just the safest play. They get to Prismari Command twice, which does get us down to lethal with the Goldspan Dragon, and then they've got negate in hand. So if they keep that there, I mean, they've got it. Truthfully, we can't do anything about it. So this seems like such a Rube Goldberg machine of a deck. It's very sick, don't get me wrong, but it's just like, what in the world? Yep. They do have to worry, I guess, about their time limit here, though. I mean, we're not doing anything to stop this, so... Oh, Hour of Revelation would have been so sick. Not that I think it would have mattered. I think they did use a timeout. Should we just concede and give it to them? I mean, at this point, they're just... all they've got to do is keep shocking us here, so they kind of just have it. And they've got plenty of mana, so I'm not really worried about that. I'm gonna good game them. They've got it. Let's go ahead and concede here, and we'll move on to game 3. All right, guys, here we are for our third and final game. Now, the question is, do we keep this hand? I think the answer is yes. I think we lead on the Hallowed Fountain, which allows us to Shimmer turn 2 with the Glacial Fortress. I think that's probably the right call. We can also leave up Narset's Reversal as needed. But I think this is a pretty solid option. So we'll see what the opponent's doing. It looks like potentially a mono red list. Huh. They rolled a 2, so they do create a little 1/1. That's interesting. All right, well, we're going to Shimmer, and obviously we just want to hit a sweeper of some kind. And it looks like Hour of Revelation is going to be a great option because it does get rid of all this. We'll see how it goes. I like it. So far, not been super lucky in our games. I think that last deck was really sweet. I think given a well-timed sweeper, we would have had a better shot of it, obviously, but that's okay. We'll hopefully do a little better this time. Interesting. Okay, so they're just like a Voltron deck. It's a very interesting Voltron deck. That's actually really solid. So let's throw this out. Let's throw. We'll just throw the Temple out, I think. I don't think we really need to worry about the reversal in this situation. We don't have anything that they can... I mean, they're probably just a bunch of pump spells, if that makes sense. So I don't think we're really going to be able to do a ton. Thankfully, that gains us a little bit of life. The Authority was honestly a very solid draw. Let's get you down. Let's get Primal Amulet down. This is going to allow us to sweep next turn with an Hour of Revelation. Worth noting that does get rid of both of these as well, though, which is a bit of a downside. However, it means that we get a Torbrand as well as this weird little goblin thing off the field. So theoretically, we can survive. We're down to 1, though, so maybe not. I mean, there is no other option. I think it's very safe to say we just have to destroy everything. And we'll see if it works. If they just have any haste guy, any kind of play, then we are pretty dead. That actually is very helpful. Let's throw you down. Let's hope they don't draw burn. We do have Narset's reversal, actually. Let's do this. I mean, it doesn't win us the game. They just get to play shock in response, so it's not really the end of the world here for them. But that was a very quick game. Unfortunately, they still just get to win. Yep, that was super quick. All right, let's talk about this deck. Okay, so not as planned. I mean, I think that's safe to say. The idea of this deck is that you control the game so well that it's very difficult for your opponent to really touch you during the gameplay portion until you can get approach down. Unfortunately, we didn't see it work out that way. And I think that's partially due to the decks we were against were a bit odd. I think they're good decks, so I don't think that... I think you should be able to play around them, if that makes sense. We had the outs to do it. It just didn't work out the way we were wanting. And I think consistency on this kind of deck is going to be the trick. I don't like Narset's reversal in general. I get why it's there. You Narset's reversal your approach, and then you can play it again. And that's very good. It's a very solid play, but I think it's a win more style card, whereas I would prefer to have maybe a little bit more interaction, some counters, something along those lines. So I would maybe take this deck and tune it a little bit. But then it's basically just a general, like, approach deck, Azorius approach deck. Regardless, though, it was very fun. I mean, it's a very control-y style deck. We don't play a lot of those on the channel because they take so long to record and that kind of thing. But thankfully, this one didn't go too long, honestly. Regardless, it was a fun one. An 0-3 record is not great, but that's okay. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic Tuesday. I love you all very much. Please feel free to give us some deck suggestions. We've got our Discord channel there for you. If you have any that you would like to share, we would be very, very happy to play those. But I think that's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you very soon for some more gameplay videos.